Hi everyone, hope everyone is doing really well. Good morning. This is 3rd December and I am wishing and I'm hoping that your preparation for UPSC exam is going in full speed, full flow, and wherever the hiccups are coming or challenges are coming, you are overcoming that. So with this positive thought, first of all, let's move to thought for the day. And thought for the day is, it's not about ideas, it's about making ideas happen. So whenever a new startup comes, or whenever a person thinks about a startup or any idea, everyone says that they have wonderful ideas. Many people have an idea, that or they dream to become IAS officer, IPS officer, army officer, naval officer, or whichever bureaucratic exam, like how they want to get into bureaucracy, or whichever part of the government they want to become. So they have an idea to become something, they aspire to become something. And similarly, if somebody wants to start a business, they say that I have an idea. But idea itself is not enough. Enough would be implementation of the idea. Yes, idea is important. Taking that goal and taking that first step in that 1,000-mile journey is very important. That putting up your aim, putting up your goal, and then start working for it. But most importantly, the last sentence which I said, working on that goal, that is important. 10% you can give it to your goal. You've decided the goal, you've got the idea. Now the focus of 90% should be process implementation, day to day working towards your goal, day to day working on the implementation of your idea and goal. And once you start doing it, then things will happen in whichever industry or whichever exam you are preparing for. So with this wonderful thought, let's move to important news of today. Okay, so the important news are deals for 26 Rafale M jets. What is M? M stands for Marine. So Rafale has around 3 to 4 variants. Among them, the naval variant is Rafale M, which is the Marine variant. Okay, and 3 Scorpene submarines, Navy chiefs. So more deals happening between India and France, and the defense collaboration between two countries augmenting, getting increased more. Then Oxford study lauds PRAGATI monitoring of infra projects. This was started by the PMO office, and other offices are also included from the level of central secretaries and the state chief secretaries. They are also there, and that basically it sees how the projects on ground level are being implemented, and the Prime Minister time to time monitors it. And Oxford study is basically saying that because of this scheme, it is helping the economy to grow, and they are lauding the scheme. Next, in UPSC prelims impact, we will study what is PRAGATI system and INS Arighat, which is related to the first use. Then Russian President Vladimir Putin to visit India in early 2025. Please note this would be his first visit after the Russia-Ukraine war started in February 2022. So after February 2022, it would be his first visit to India. That means Russia-Ukraine post-war. Then editorial, citizens with disabilities making their rights real. So today we are also celebrating International Day for Person with Disabilities. We'll understand what is the theme of this year, and this editorial is based on that, and at what level or what problems people with disability are facing at the state and other levels. And then we have standard Q&A, extra mile, and tidbits. Okay, so let's start with the first important news, that is deals for 26 Rafale MJs, 3 Scorpene submarines to be signed by Navy Chief. So, and there is also a news of INS Arighat. So, let's complete what is INS Arighat. It will come in the news. So, INS Arighat is your second indigenously built nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine. So, it's basically a nuclear submarine. So, there's a difference between nuclear submarine and a diesel submarine. The most important difference is that nuclear submarine can be underwater for a very long period of time. And since it is underwater, its location, tracking its location is almost impossible or very difficult. On the other hand, when you have a diesel submarine, so diesel submarine from time to time, from 10 days, 15 days, depending upon its capacity, it has to come on the surface for oxygen or recharging in batteries. This is also called snorkeling, and that is why diesel submarines compared to nuclear submarines, the time they can be in water is very less. And when you talk about submarines, most important thing is stealth, how much time they can be underwater. And now when you talk about nuclear submarines, the technology is very difficult. For nuclear submarines, they are very costly, and they have a small nuclear reactor which uses water and everything, so that the machine or the nuclear submarine remains underwater for a long period of time. And we need nuclear submarines to tackle China and Pakistan, which are our arch rival. And right now, more focus is toward China, because China has now got the biggest navy in the world, and they are increasing their submarines, frigates and aircraft carriers at a very strong speed, because their focus is to become a blue navy. Okay. Now, in this context, India recently we have had built our nuclear powered ballistic missile submarines, following the first nuclear submarine INS Arighat, which was commissioned in 2018. We are already working on the third one, trials and everything. It was constructed at Indian Navy Shipbuilding Center in Visakhapatnam, and it represents the critical component of India's nuclear triad, which means that we can launch nuclear missiles from land, sea and air. It can carry up to 4 nuclear capable K4 SLBMs, that submarine launched ballistic missile, and these K4 missile was recently tested. By the end of November, it has a range of 3,500 kilometers, and they have something called dead hand protocol. As we move in the lecture today, I'll talk about this dead hand protocol and why Pakistan and China have got really scared, and why they're really afraid of this K4 SLBMs and these nuclear missiles or nuclear ballistic missile, and why the geopolitics and defense expert in Pakistan and China are talking about these missiles. We'll talk about them. Or this Arighat has these missiles, or it can also carry 12 conventional warhead, which has a range of 750 kilometers, or 4 nuclear K4, which has a range of 3,500 kilometers. So, INS Arighat, this is the static which I wanted to complete. Good morning everyone. Welcome everyone. And as we complete this news, then I would like to know your viewpoint, like how do you think India is growing in its defense structure, defense arena. And I would also like to tell you that tomorrow would be 4th of December, and that is the Navy Day. Indian Navy celebrates the Navy Day on 4th of December, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, and this is your INS Arighat. Okay, now let's move towards the news. So, Navy Chief, that is the Navy Chief Admiral of the Indian Navy, Dinesh Tripathi, has come up with some very fantastic and fabulous and good and very positive news that we would be soon getting. 26 Rafale M stands for Marine. So, Rafale has 3 to 4 versions. They have also a version called N, that is for nuclear. So, and rest they have for the Air Force, etc. So, the naval variant is optimized for carrier operation. When I say carrier operation, it is talking about aircraft carriers, those long ships which you must have seen. Okay, so like INS Vikramaditya. So this which you talk about, or which we had INS Vikrant and all these big aircraft carriers. So you must have seen in news or in television that fighter jets are over it, or if you've seen a movie like Top Gun, there is also an aircraft carrier. The planes fly from that aircraft carrier on a small strip. The strip is very small, so the pilots need to be very proficient, and that is why when we talk about naval fighter pilots, they are highly proficient, and skill sets are very advanced. So the naval variant is optimized for carrier operation. This is about aircraft carrier and fleet operations with a reinforced nose and tail. So new nose would be a bit changed, and the tail of the plane would be changed, designed for landing gear, because if you see the strip of the aircraft carrier is small, and that is why these adjustments have been made. It equips the French Navy aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. So it is already on the French aircraft carrier. Now India is also getting 26 Rafale M for Indian Navy aircraft carrier. So wonderful news coming. We are trying to increase our potency when it comes to defense weapons, and whatever be the risk which is coming from the Chinese side or Pakistan, Indian Navy is thoroughly ready, whatever our arch rivals is doing. DK Tripathi sir is also saying that Pakistan is increasing its fleet of the ships and everything, but at the same time, it's not a welfare country. They are putting the entire budget for this, budget for the buying weapons. At the same time, people are dying because of hunger, food and shelter. in Pakistan, and what we saw about the Imran Khan protest which happened some days back, we are all aware of. But at the same time, when it comes to India, it's not only about defense weapons, from multiple social schemes to everything, social schemes, economics, infrastructure building, and the rapidly growing international diplomacy and the investment coming in India, and at the same time Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is happening in different sectors, be it defense, be it MSMEs, agriculture, and artificial intelligence, semiconductor area, where we are focusing as a country to grow holistically in every sector. So that was one of the statement. Obviously, Mr. D.K. Tripathi sir did not, Admiral Tripathi did not go in such a detail. So I'm just trying to break the statement with you, what he exactly means. So we would also be getting 3 Scorpene class submarines expected to be finalized by next month. So we are working on this, and Scorpene submarines which we have got, they have done a tremendous work. They are very good, and that is why, since if the product is good, obviously you want to buy it more. The best would be, now many of these weapons or many of these technologies which we are buying, or the planes which we are buying, if we are buying 26, if we are buying 30, 40, around 50% of them are being manufactured in India, and some of them, even TOT is happening. What? TOT. TOT means transfer of technology. Technology would be transferred to India, and India can build on its own, or even it can build on its own, and if India wants to sell it to some other countries, they are ready to do so. So France, I think on the one of the fighter jets, they are talking about that if India works on it, and we are ready to do TOT also, and even on the some of the engines. So that is a very good thing that they want to sell it, and if India want to sell it further, with all its additions and subtraction, they are ready for that. But more details about that will come later, because these were certain discussions. Apart from that, the Admiral Tripathi also released Indian Navy Vision 2047 document. What is the focus of Indian Navy 47? It's talking about Indian Navy 47 from now. Okay, so this is almost about 23 years from now. What would be the focus? So procurement and modernization, Rafale M deal is in the card, advanced stages, awaiting clearance from Cabinet Committee on Security. Most probably this should be done. It is a government to government agreement, just like earlier when we got Rafale for the Indian Air Force, that was also a government to government deal with France for rapid processing, because when you do government to government deal, you get Rafale at a very fast pace. And I would also like to tell you, I had told you in Daily Decodes, so I had get a question that, sir, Rafale is such a good fighter plane, why doesn't Indian Air Force acquire more of them? Yes, Indian Air Force can acquire, but the Rafale air variant, so before India started using Rafale, only the France Air Force was using. But once India started using, and India is one of the biggest importer of weapons, the legitimacy and authenticity came that a big power like India is using, and that is why it's a very good fighter plane. The number of orders for Rafale increased like anything. So if today Indian Air Force wants to buy the air variant, the stocks are very less, and the Indian Air Force might take 5 or 10 years to get the next batch of Rafale. That is what most of the international media and geopolitics news says, that because of India buying, the viability and the overall people getting in spree to buy Rafale increase like anything, and that is how we are buying the M variant, not the air variant. Okay, so we can do it, but it will take a lot of time. Scorpene submarine, again this is a repeat order for 3 submarines to be built at Mazagaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited in partnership with Naval Group of France. Of the 6 submarines, 5 have been inducted and 6th will be commissioned soon. So the 6 Scorpenes, they are on the track, and we are talking about more 3 new Scorpene submarines to overall holistically increasing our structure of submarines. Whatever the threat which is coming from Pakis or Chinese, we would be ready for that. Okay, great. So now moving to INS Arighat, this is a wonderful news coming at this. The Chinese and the Pakistan was sleeping in slumber, and when these news break, they awake to a shock. So INS Arighat successfully tested K4 submarine launch ballistic missile with a range of 3,500 kilometers. So more or less it reaches a lot. Pakistan is entirely covered, and to an extent even China is covered, depending upon where we are deploying our submarines and this missile. INS Arighat has completed multiple deterrence patrols, new, and we are also getting these small, smaller and maneuverable nuclear attack submarines. Their focus is attacking submarines, and when we talk about the INS Arighat, these are bigger submarines. The focus is toward launching bigger missiles and decimating the targets. Compared to these nuclear attack submarines, they are fast, maneuverable, they maneuver very easily, short and short, crisp and attacking mode. That is what these smaller nuclear attack submarines, 2 SSN recently approved by CCS, are expected to be operational by 26-37. I think the budget is around 40,000 crore to 50,000 crore, approximately 40,000 crore if I'm correct, the numbers which I remember for these 2 SSNs. And monitoring maritime activities, obviously the focus of submarines would be actively monitoring PLN, that is your PLA Navy ships, Indian Ocean research, and these Chinese research vessels. Now, just to tell you, when Chinese say that they are research vessels, don't buy this. Please understand, these research vessels are nothing but these are the intelligence carriers, or they snoop on, or they have these instruments, they have this technology where they're trying to snoop information, get confidential information. So this is like intelligence gathering surveillance vessels. So they name it Chinese research vessels, but in reality these are Chinese surveillance vessels, intelligence vessels, and they try to snoop or they try to steal confidential technology or get that information, which focusing on the majorly on the Indian ships when we talk about Indian Ocean. And if you talk about the Pacific or the South China Sea, then the focus would be towards Australian Navy or the American or Japanese or Philippines. And also remember that some of these Chinese research vessels were in Sri Lanka, and India was not very happy about it. They spoke to Vikramasinghe, which was the last president of Sri Lanka, and it was removed. Now what would the President Dissanayake, now President Dissanayake is the new president of Sri Lanka. So these Chinese research vessels are trying to get there again, or they might already be there. So what he will do, only time will tell. So emphasis is on protecting India's maritime interest while ensuring security and readiness. Now let's talk about this important missile, K4 submarine launched ballistic missile, which is very dangerous. Now this was recently India successfully tested K4 nuclear capable ballistic missile, and the news came on 28th November 2024. I think it didn't come in Hindu, it came in Indian Express, but anyways we are covering it. Okay, now the most important thing about this is, obviously, for example, whichever area it is, the 3,500 kilometers of that diameter, that it can definitely target. For example, if it is out here, the 3,500 kilometer, whatever be the range in diameter it can attack. If it is out here, entire Pakistan can be captured. This is one thing about it, that it has a range of this 3,500 kilometer, and it can easily target, the K4 can easily target in this area. That is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that it has something called dead hand protocol. This is the most important thing. So imagine that Pakistan and China attack India, and they are able to destroy, or they are able to destroy the entire machinery, our nuclear missiles, or our hierarchy, or our entire leadership, which could have taken a decision on, since we don't have the first use policy, we have policy that if somebody attacks us with nuclear missiles, then we attack. So we don't have the, we have the policy of no first use. No, don't have the, rather we have the policy of no first use. And on the other hand, many countries, including Pakistan, they talk about first use and everything. So in this context, it is very important for India that we have something called dead hand protocol. So what will happen is that if Pakistan attacks India, or China attacks in India, and our all nuclear centers, or our entire hierarchy, machinery, administration, executive, legislature, judiciary, everything goes for a toss, everything goes for a zero, everyone dies. I'm saying this hypothetically. Then we have something called dead hand protocol, which is in K4 missile. What this will do is that it will, once this happens, there are software and technology which is embedded in this missile. Once it gets to know that the entire missile infrastructure and the entire bureaucracy or the executive, everyone is dies and no one is there, it will automatically fire a weapon and destroy China and Pakistan or whichever country has fired. So the term dead hand protocol refers to automatically retaliatory system. It has an automatically retaliatory system, ensures a second strike even if country's leadership and command structure are incapacitated, they have died, they cannot do anything. So if your command structure and country's leadership has gone, and this is an automatic retaliatory system, it will fire and destroy the country. That is why China and Pakistan are talking about this missile, because this dead hand protocol, which more or less this missile has, this is very dangerous, because if they destroy us, and this is also very important because we have no first use policy. Since we don't have no first use policy, we would be only attacking if somebody attacks their nuclear submarine on nuclear missiles on us, and in this way this dead hand protocol is very important. Okay, so let's move further. So say modernization and milestones are going on. 62 ships and 1 submarines currently under construction, and Indian Navy has also taken a target that every year we would be constructing 1 ship, or rather inducting 1 new ship per month, in every year per month. So per month we would be inducting 1 ship, so that's the target. That means 12 ships a month. So Navy aims to induct 1 new ship per month in upcoming year, that is 2025 year. The target would be 1 ship, so 12 ships per year. And if we go with this target, the overall fleet can be increased, and the challenge which is coming from Chinese side, it can be tackled. Approval of 31 additional ships and submarines, including 7 stealth frigates. Now frigates are very important, that too stealth, which has the technology of being stealth, having P-17B and 6 advanced submarines, P-75I project. It's a long project which has been going on. Transition to indigenous manufacturing, including 60 UHM helicopters, which would be replacing your Chetak fleet, which has become very old. Now the focus of the defense forces and most of the sectors in Indian economy is now a lot on Atmanirbhar Bharat, or making weapons indigenously. Over a period of time, I've told you in the lectures, if a country cannot become a superpower if it is dependent on weapons and buying weapons from other country. Today we are dependent, but our focus would be to create our own weapons, which is very important. Global naval presence is going on with coordinated patrols and exclusive economic zone patrols. Apart from that, the marine commandos and Indian Navy is also working for anti-piracy operation. We also participated in international events like RIMPEC at Hawaii and Russian Federation Navy Day celebrations at St. Petersburg. So global naval presence is there. We have multiple logistics deals of Indian Navy with other Navy also, where if our Navy is on their dockyards or their Navy is on our dockyards, we can logistically, whatever be the need of food, logistics services can be supplied. So with America, we have that kind of deal. If I'm correct, Australia also has it with India. So monitoring Pakistan, regional dynamics is that the Tripathi sir, Admiral Tripathi, is saying that focus is on Pakistan as well as China, but he specifically mentioned that Pakistan is expanding, acquiring 8 submarines for China to build a 50-ship fleet to counter India. Again, at what cost? Pakistan prioritization of defense over welfare. So that's the focus. India is not doing that. We are welfare, development, defense, everything is going side by side. So overall, if Pakistan, they can keep on increasing fleet, but at the same time of a chaos or a civil revolution happens in Pakistan, and what things Tehreek-e-Taliban and Balochis are doing, or PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, the party of Imran Khan is doing, then things would be turning very tough for Pakistan. And what they would do with these fleets when there would be, kind of revolution in the country. Now the next important thing is Vision 2047 of the Indian Navy. Very important statements have come, and it is focusing on multi-dimensional engagement. When you talk about multi-dimensional engagement, you're talking about theater commands also. Okay, it is not written in this document, like whatever the statements have come, but we talk about theater commands. The news which is coming that the Western Theatre Command would be targeting Pakistan, the base would be Jaipur, Northern Theatre Command would be Lucknow, targeting China, and then Marine Theatre Command, which is the most important in Indian Navy, would be the most important factor in that. So when you talk about multi-dimensional threat from Indo-Pacific to South China Sea, or wherever the major threats, the capability to take these threats from two-front warfare or a new front comes, and from piracy to other factors which are very important. Sustained modernization should continue. Commitment to ensuring readiness for any future contingent, and the deterrent edge, like K4. If you see K4 nuclear ballistic missiles, these are deterrent, that if you target us and even if you are able to destroy our leadership and command structure, the automatic retaliatory system will take care of you. Okay, so this was a very important news, and we have a question. Rafale MJITers deal is a commercial, not it's a commercial government to government. INS Arighat recently tested K4 submarine launch ballistic missile with a range of 3,500 km. India approved the construction of 2 indigenous nuclear attack submarine. So second and third statement are correct. Let's go to the next news. Parikshit, generally, most of the deals, if they are in midway, they are more or less completed. I'm not sure, I don't think so the coming governments will cancel it, because then it spoils the relationship, between two countries. And this is deal with France. It has been a quite clean deal till now. So, it will not be a great step if you cancel it when 70 or 80% of the orders have happened. And next is Bhuvan asking, sir, why India is reliant on Rafale, not developing fighters indigenously, like improving on HAL Tejas? Do we lack the defense investment or confidence? Confidence is not the problem, tech is the problem, and we are not investing on R&D. Now Tejas, the problem which is coming, Bhuvan, we are not, for Tejas, India is not developing the engines. Engines are coming from GE. GE is a based company in America. And America and these GE company, under the Biden administration, there has been a lot of delay in giving these engines. So until and unless we get the engines of Tejas from the Americans, the Tejas cannot take off. You need engines, right? So recently France has also told that if the Americans are, they are not naming Americans. Basically, if Americans are dealing with the engines, France can supply with the engines with TOT, that is transfer of technology. And that's the major problem coming. Our R&D is not up to the mark, and HAL, if you see, compared to the other countries and other organizations, HAL has been quite slow. It has been able to achieve, but it is not a potent or a very good organization compared to ISRO and its target. It has been very slow, but things have moved, but the pace has been slow. Like, just to tell you, Tejas project started in 1984, and right now you are in 2024, you can see the development. Okay, now let's go to the next news. Oxford launched PRAGATI system for fast tracking projects. So wonderful news coming. PRAGATI stands for platform for basically proactive governance and timely implementation. So proactive government will take care, the project is getting over, project is on time, grievances and everything, and timely implementation. If the project has to be completed in 6 months, it has to be completed in 6 months. 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, whatever be the project. If it is a 5-year project, every 6 months or 1 year, the government would be focusing, where have you reached? Like in corporate sector, there is a proper timeline. So this is kind of a timeline which the PRAGATI system came for that. It is more of a proactive approach. So this system was designed by Prime Minister Office team with National Informatics Center, and it enables the Prime Minister. So at the topmost level, PM would be discussing with the central and state officials with full information and latest visuals of the ground level situation, what is actually happening on the ground, and he will get the real picture, what is the problem, where the project has reached, and what are the hiccups and how we can resolve it. So it is a 3-tier system. At the topmost level, you have the Prime Minister's office. At the second level, you have union government secretaries. And at the third level, you have chief secretaries of the state. So wherever the problem is coming, if there is a problem which is happening between state and the central level, how that problem can be resolved in terms of whatever be the problem is, that all this taken care by the PMO office and through discussions and conversations. Objective, grievance redressal, program implementation, project monitoring, and they use 3 important technology, 3 latest technology to do it. That is digital data management, then video conferencing, and geospatial technology. So this is the focus, and this is the idea behind the PRAGATI mission, PRAGATI scheme, whatever you want to say. PRAGATI stands for proactive governance and timely implementation. I think words are very easy to understand. Proactive governance, and you want the schemes and implementation of mission, whatever is going on, to be on time, and timely implementation. It is an ICT based, that is your information communication technology, initiated by Prime Minister, started in 2015 to monitor and accelerate infrastructure project across India. Oxford study has lauded this study, and Oxford University Syed Business School SBS lauds PRAGATI for facilitating economic transformation by accelerating 340 project worth $205 billion. So just see $205 billion is the worth of project and they are in accelerating speeds. That means they should get complete on time or before that. So wonderful, again a positive news. So study's name is titled From Gridlock to Growth. So from a gridlock, that means it was in a stalemate, there was no growth happening, now it is moving towards growth. How leadership enables India's Pragati ecosystem to power progress. So definitely a mains question or a prelims based question can come on this news. Okay, thank you Mohit, thank you everyone. Okay, guys, there's one thing I'll only ask of you. You get, some of you were asking, sir, we are not getting PDF. See, once this lecture is over, the Insights IAS team, they put the PDF after 2-3 hours. It takes some time for them. There's some technical process we need to go through it. So you always get the PDF. Please download the PDF. Second, all of you who are watching with this wonderful lecture, please share it with your friends continuously. Please share it with your friends, fellow aspirants, and please do like the session. I keep on saying do like the session, share the session, and press the bell icon. That is one thing I ask for you. Kindly just do this. Okay, that's ask from your daily host of Decode, Sanjay Sir. So this is authored by Sumitra Datta and Mukul Pandya. It was presented by a symposium hosted by IIM's Bangalore. Pragati's approach symbolizes commitment to overcoming bureaucratic inertia. Obviously, bureaucracy or sometimes the files tend to not move because of red tapeism or any bureaucratic issue. In that context, fostering Team India mindset, accountability and efficiency. So the focus of this entire Pragati scheme is overcoming bureaucratic inertia, fostering a Team India mindset, and third is accountability and efficiency. Now, collaborative work, it integrates central and state at the state level. For example, the state machinery is saying that center secretaries are not cooperating and central secretaries are saying that we are continuously sending the material but there is no response from this state. So since PM would be sitting, they will talk, what's the problem, what is the solution, what can be done on the ground, resolved, that's it. Full stop, PM there, the state secretary is top secretary there and union secretary is there. Let's resolve the problem. That's the focus. So it enables resolution of challenges in land acquisition and inter-ministerial coordination. So good steps, very, very good scheme, pro-governance, technology integration, real-time data, drone feeds, video conferencing. So it is not only that the Prime Minister is said on that this scheme is being implemented on paper, he can actually see the scheme, he can actually check with the videos, and because of this, since the real-time data is coming, it is very difficult to cheat anyone. So it accelerates environmental clearance and promotes green technology. So promoting green technology from the point of view of climate change, greenhouse gas, net zero emissions, very important, and also environmental clearances where the most of the projects sometimes get stuck. Okay, so economic impact, Pragati has a multiplier impact on the Indian economy, 2.5 rupees 2.5 to rupees 3.5 of GDP growth is observed for every rupee. So that for every rupee, rupees 2.5 to rupees 3.5, that is the growth which is happening. And per the study, this study was done by RBI and National Institute of Public Finance and Policy. Accelerated project completion, governance, innovation drive, inclusive and sustainable development. So overall, it's a fantastic project and things are moving in great direction. Global relevance. Pragati serves as a model nation for middle income trap. Again, a very important prelims fact. What is middle income trap? So many countries get stuck in this middle income trap when their growth is not happening, GDP is not increasing. So middle income trap is a situation where a country's economy reaches a middle income level and it is unable to go to the higher level. In a very simple way to remember is that middle income trap, say that your salary is stuck at 30,000 or 40,000 rupees a month and it is not going up. So just to remember, when your salary gets stuck and you are not able to move up, then you need to do innovative courses, you need to upgrade your CV, you need to add more and technical courses to your CV, which can be from Udemy, Coursera or whatever courses you are referring to, technical courses, which can help you fetch better salaries. Similarly, this is a kind of course or Pragati course, you remember, or Pragati scheme. In India, under this process, we try to implement the projects which are worth more than $200 billion on timely implementation, which results into this. Just remember that Pragati is helping us to overcome the middle income trap. Okay, and that too with a sustained growth. So let's have a question. It integrates stakeholder from central and state government for collaborative governance. Okay. Pragati focus exclusively or no, not exclusively on urban infrastructure. Rural is also part. It leverages technology like real-time data, drone feeds, correct. So central state, yes, 1 and 2 are correct. 1 and 3. 1 and 3. The second one is wrong. Not urban. It's not only urban. It also has rural infrastructure. This is the mains question. Please go through that. Very important. Let's go. Okay. Before I move forward, so the optional anthropology batch has started. It has just started yesterday. If you're still looking for a dedicated and a detailed course on anthropology with one of the topmost faculties of anthropology, Dr. Arjun Bopanna sir, please join this program. It has been only one day. You can still join the program. And for all details, just scan this QR code. Rest of the details regarding classes given here and fees and everything, you can also call on this number. And on 2nd January 2025, our OGP 2026 first batch is starting under the guidance of Vinay sir. And everybody knows about Vinay sir, how he has been a great mentor and multiple top rankers have come under him. And he's the founder and director of Insights IAS. So this program is directly starting under his guidance. It's a full integrated classroom program for GS, CSAT and essay. You can also scan this QR code for all details or call on this number. Regarding fees, details and discount, it has been mentioned here. Please call on this number for every detail if you want dedicated guidance for your UPSC examination. Now let's move to the next important news that is coming from international affairs. So finally Putin has decided, the clearance has come from Russia that the President Vladimir Putin would be visiting in the early part or the early days of January 2025. That's around the area. And also remember, this is also the time when Donald Trump would be the elected President of America. Donald Trump would be officially taking over the seat or the power of the presidency of America. So important news coming, and this is the first trip since Russia invasion of Ukraine or the Russia-Ukraine war, which started in February 2022. So again, a very important meeting. The Prime Minister has already met Russia. He had gone to Moscow, then he was in Kazan when for the 16th BRICS summit. The overall camaraderie between Russia and India is right now very, very strong. India and China also had a formal meeting in Kazan where we were discussing, or rather we were able to discuss and come to a conclusion on a positive agreement on disengagement between Indo-China borders regarding the Galwan issue. And rest, the visit invited by PM will include 23rd Annual India Summit. Apart from there are two important bilateral engagement. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, discussion with Russian Deputy PM Denis Maturov during the intergovernmental meeting which would happen in India. Then you have Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. He would be traveling to Russia to oversee the commissioning of stealth frigate Tushil. So we are India and Russia working on four stealth frigates, again in part of Indian Navy coming. So Tushil for the Indian Navy. Yes, manufacturing growth has definitely declined. Okay. So visit will focus on advancing the economy, doubling the bilateral trade to $100 billion. I think I've already covered the trade between India and Russia is already $66 billion. But majority of this trade is happening on oil and gas. What India and Russia need to find out, if the Russia-Ukraine war stops and the Europeans again start taking Russian oil and gas. Today we are buying Russian oil and gas because we are getting that at a discounted price. So if we stop buying Russian on oil and gas, and the number of defense equipment which we are buying from Russia has considerably reduced, because we are also buying from France, Israel, or for that matter Americans, like Predator, Rafale and various weapons which we talk about. From Israel, it can be spice bombs. So in this context, if the oil and gas also come down, because after the over of Russia-Ukraine war, we need to find other areas to integrate more trade. We already are working on the North-South Transport Corridor, Chennai-Vladivostok Maritime Time Corridor, so to decrease the distance between the two countries for more trade, and it has helped. But we also need to find other areas so that we get this number to $100 billion. Okay. So, for example, I've already spoken about Chennai-Vladivostok Maritime Corridor, which contributed to bilateral trade rising, and it has already started 2023. It started defense cooperation delivery schedule for key agreements including S-400 air defense system. Now S-400 air defense system, India is continuously asking, it has got delayed because Russia is busy fighting the Russia-Ukraine war, and the focus of the machinery and making weapons is towards Ukraine war rather than giving S-400 defense systems to India. So I think when Putin would be in India, the Prime Minister will talk to him about it. And these are the 4 stealth frigates which India and Russia are building. 2 under construction, that is Tushil and Tamal. 2 are being built in India by Goa Shipyard Limited through technology transfer. So TOT is happening in this case, very important. And then Tamal frigate is scheduled for delivery in early 2025. So I think it should be around when the President visits, we'll get a clarity on this. And when it comes to Chennai-Vladivostok Maritime Corridor, I've covered a lot in November about this. October, November, I was continuously covering. You go to previous daily decodes. If you have been watching my session, we have covered North-South Transport Corridor, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, that which came in G20, that we have covered Chennai, Vladivostok Maritime Corridor. Multiple times we have covered this. I've added a picture also. The distance is reduced. If we would have taken, this was 8675 nautical miles, this is 5647. Obviously, distance reduces, more economic integration happens because of less transport time. So India's role in mediation, India is continuously talking about that we are ready to mediate for a peaceful resolution ceasefire which can happen with Russia and Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin has appreciated this role. President Vladimir Putin has also appreciated role of Trump, that Trump is also talking about peaceful resolution of this. So Moscow has praised Trump for support for peace initiatives, India's willingness to facilitate dialogue between conflicting parties. So in a way, I'm very sure once Trump takes over power, resolution should come. So they have already met twice, Modi and President Vladimir Putin. He has said special relationship. At the time of July, he also got, Prime Minister Modi also got the highest award. And today India is at a very unique position that they can talk to Zelensky also or Putin also, shaking hands and hugging each other. So we have been able to do it. Economic and strategic vision. So leaders aim to develop maritime trade and bilateral cooperation. This is what I'm talking about, that we need to focus on other areas apart from oil, gas and defense. So the trade goes more than $100 billion, and also focus on Pacific and mutual support in global peace building. Remain priorities also would be there. Specifically, yesterday we were covering, and the Trump had said that I would be putting 100% tariff on BRICS countries if they talk about de-dollarization. This would also be one of the things they'll talk about. So it strengthens the India-Russia ties, reinforces India's position as a mediator, and facilitate progress of defense, trade and strategic initiatives. Okay. So question is there, you can go through this. Let's come to today's editorial. Citizens with disabilities. Okay. So today is International Day of Persons with Disabilities, 3rd December, and when I started the session, I told you, and the theme for the disability, this time International Day of Person with Disabilities Day is amplifying the leadership of person with disabilities for an inclusive and sustainable future. That means leadership, more and more leadership roles to person with disabilities should be given for inclusive and sustainable future. You remember when the Black Lives Matter happened, so there was a word which was called DAI, and it was talking about diverse and more inclusiveness. But after, but what we have seen by the last 6 months of this year, most of these tech companies which used to talk about DEI, now they are not focusing on. Walmart has also removed. So it basically wanted that people from multi-dimensional or multi-variety backgrounds, they enter from women to LGBTQ community or different color people also enter, and there should be a cohesive environment and focus on women empowerment and everything. Person with disabilities, everyone join the workforce so that there is a cohesive and a comprehensive environment for overall growth. But most of the tech companies and big companies, the MNC, which came for which was favoring DEI, now they are taking a U-turn, and more or less they are again going what used to happen earlier. So again a U-turn. I think tech companies also see how the politics happens in America and change their stands. So citizens with disabilities, ensuring realization of their right. So according to 2011 census, people with disabilities in India is around 2% or 2.21%. But in the other numbers, which as per the WHO, this number should be around 16% among adults. So number of WHO and number of the census, and this was 2011 census, this should have increased by now. So India ratified the UN Convention on Right of Person with Disabilities in CPRD in 2007, and then we got Rights of Person with Disabilities Act, that is RPWD Act 2016, which replaced the 1995 Act. So it is a wonderful act, but again the problem is at the state level, state commissioners are not implementing at the right juncture. They are not putting in effort, and mostly this act is there, but the implementation has been quite poor. So it mandates the creation of State Commissioner for Disabilities, which will have quasi-judicial powers. But these powers have not been used, or even at this in these state commissioners, the people which have a track record in working with disability or disability organization, they have not been here. So mostly IAS officers or commissioners have been put here which don't have a background on this. So it has quasi-judicial power to ensure implementation of disabilities law. Section 82 grants commissioners the power of a civil court, allows judicial proceedings under the Indian Penal Code. The responsibilities include addressing contravention of the act if the act is not being followed, intervening suo moto. What is suo moto? Is that on its own motion. So they can take the court, they can take the case related to this on its own, like what Supreme Court also has power to take some of the cases on suo moto. In cases of discrimination and recommending corrective measures. I mean to say, Supreme Court also has the power to do suo moto, and similarly they also have related to this RPWD Act. Now, what are the major challenges which is happening? The major challenge which is happening is that the state commissioner failed to meet expectation. First biggest problem, lax attitude of state governments. They are just not bothered about person with disabilities. First important problem, empowering the office. Second, delays in appointments. So Seema Girija Lal versus Union of India says that the state commissioners are under this act, which the appointments needs to be made to implement it or with the office, that is not happening. Third, appointment of civil servants from nodal ministries instead of independent experts. So these civil servants which are coming there, they don't have any background and they are not able to sympathize and empathize or understand the problem rather than independent experts which should be here. Fourth, only 8 states have appointed non-civil commissioner as of 2021 to 2022. So proposed improvements are states should consider appointing civil society representative, experts or people who have worked with these organizations on who have know-how. Commissioners must interact consistently with persons with disabilities and their organization so that there is a cohesive and inclusive environment rather than just a department being created and certain policies are being taken in which there is no discussions, conversation with the people with persons of disabilities who might be suffering. States like Karnataka and Delhi have taken good step from the point of view of expeditionally and ensuring transparency and putting steps for benefiting step for person with disabilities, taking important actions in a timely manner. So some of the things which Karnataka has been able to do, collaborating with law schools to enhance quasi-judicial, organizing mobile adalats to address grievances, designating district magistrate and deputy commissioner with disabilities for inclusiveness, then using district disability management reviews to monitor. So what this program will do, it will monitor the program, whichever program is started for person with disabilities, how is the implementation is happening, are they able to achieve the target, and the audience which needs the benefit, they are getting it or not. These practices demonstrate effective implementation and could serve as models for other states also to follow, which can take example of Karnataka. Research and policy development, state commissioners are empowered to conduct and promote research on disability rights. They need to do this. That's a separate thing. It is not happening. So the power which has been given by the act, it has to be implemented. The state government need to focus on this. Research areas could include disability, social protection, climate change impacts, etc. So significance of strengthening a role of commissioner, state commissioners proactive. The most important thing is that state commissioner and behind that state government, they need to become proactive. 2 states are already there, Delhi and Karnataka, which has been able to do so. Their models can be, we can learn or get inspired from that models or take important pointers and implement in our states. So for addressing gaps in policies and practices that contravene the RPWD Act, strengthening, rebuild trust among persons with disabilities, that the government at the state level and state commissioners would be working, and transparent and well-equipped statutory framework should be there from grievances to other problems. Okay, so this is the main question which you can go. Analyze the challenge faced by the State Commissioner for Disabilities in India and suggest measures to enhance their effectiveness in safeguarding the rights of persons with disabilities. In Titbits you have now Nepal, Nepal PM, whenever he used to come, his first visit used to be to India, but now they're changing their gears and they're sitting in the lap of Chinese. And what we are getting to know, Nepal government accepts $20 million grant assistance from China. Yes, take the grant and tomorrow they will take some piece of land from Nepal. That is what China does. It has done in Pakistan, it has done in Sri Lanka, from Tota to Gwadar, and this might also happen. But it also tells that the India-Nepal relations are not that what it used to be. So diplomatically, we need to work with them. In the extra mile, please go through One Nation, One Subscription Plan. We had discussed this news yesterday in detail. It is about important research journals, and this would be for Tier 2 and Tier 3 government-funded colleges, and why this scheme is very important. So we had gone through it, I think, couple of days, 1 or 2 days back, we were covering this. So you can go through it. And if there is any important question, yes, manufacturing growth has been declined. That is, India need to work upon it. And I would also want to see what are the numbers in October, November specifically. This is the festive time and the sales increase in our country. So let's see what happens. And in the second half, India needs to work very economically. We need to work hard so that our numbers from the GDP point of view goes up, because RBI still has a target of around 7%, Ministry of Finance has a target of around 6.5 to 7%. To achieve these targets, manufacturing and other sectors needs to improve. Most importantly, the problem which is happening is that the government spending has reduced. So we need to increase the government spending. Generally, the government spending always reducing during the time of elections, because most important schemes cannot be implemented because of election. And once the new government takes, it takes around 3, 4, 5 months to come back and the projects to restart. So I think the numbers should pick up again. Let's see what happens. Please, you can enroll on this course and you can call on this number for all the details, 80 69 40 5205. And please follow Sapna ma'am for current affairs for answer enrichment in mains, ICANN 2.0, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. And thank you very much. I hope you learnt a lot. We'll meet up tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. And kindly please do like, share, and the PDF would be uploaded later in the description section. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Take care. Sayonara.